Hello everyone, what an incredible season finale to Godzilla Singular Point. I wanted to wait until I had finished the series in its entirety before making a video on it. Overall, I really enjoyed this anime and I enjoyed it more than the previous Godzilla anime. That's just my personal preference, but I'm glad they made the previous anime because I know many fans enjoyed it. For me personally, Godzilla Singular Point was more my speed. I wasn't sure if I was going to like Godzilla going through phases and evolving, but I think they did a great job with it. It's similar to Shin Godzilla, but it has its own spin, which I think is nice. I also liked how they put details of other Showa kaiju into the designs of each of Godzilla's different forms. For example, Godzilla's first form, or his aquatic stage, takes on some design cues from Titanosaurus, whereas another one of Godzilla's stages has some design elements from Varan. I thought that this was a really clever way to pay homage to some of the classic Showa monsters. Obviously not every monster could fit into the story, so it's nice that the creators found a way. I think it paid off well. I thought that the story was interesting, and while I didn't understand everything, I still found the show enjoyable. I do think that they could have explained things a little bit better, which is why I hope they get a second season where they can better expand on things. I'm not sure if we ever got an exact reason as to why there's so much red dust or archetypes surrounding the monsters. Perhaps this is something further seasons can explore. I know one of the main criticisms I've seen from fans on Reddit has been about all the confusing science jargon. Personally, I didn't mind it at all. Godzilla movies usually have some form of this. Obviously, not as elaborate or at the same scale, but I think it should be expected. Godzilla and science kind of go hand in hand. I also liked how the story took us across the globe from Japan, Dubai, London, India, and I'm sure I'm missing more. It was also cool that they showed the monsters invading different cities and causing chaos. It harkens back to Destroy All Monsters or Final Wars. It's always nice seeing the global impact these monsters have, in addition to Japan. Overall, I found the story to be really interesting, and I found myself wishing it was next week at the end of each episode. I felt like each episode went by so fast, which is usually an indication that I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I wish the season had been a little longer. Hopefully we'll get some announcements soon about Season 2. I know next week Singular Point comes to Netflix in the United States. In July, Toho will be attending Anime Matsuri, so maybe soon we'll hear something. I hope they decide to continue the story. I really enjoyed the characters in Singular Point even though there was a large cast. I actually liked that because I think it helped move the story along. I also liked the characters' chemistry, which again helped with the story's flow. Some characters that stuck out to me were Mei, Yun, Pelops 2, Goro, and Jet Jaguar. I understand that Jet Jaguar is a robot with AI, but I felt like he was part of the character cast, even though he's not human. I thought that the three most interesting characters were Mei, Yun, and Goro. It was clever having Yun and Mei texting back and forth, helping one another with their quests. Goro was a great comic relief and reminded me of Mr. Taco from King Kong vs. Godzilla. It's always great having a funny character who can bring some fun to the story. Yun and Mei I felt were interesting. It would have been cool to have more scenes where they were together, but given the story they really couldn't be. I thought both were really interesting and engaging. Pelops 2 was another interesting and funny character who worked again as comic relief. Additionally, this AI was really helpful to Mei as she tried figuring out Ashihara's research. Some other notable characters that stuck out to me were Habaru, Dr. Lee, and Bibi. I like the diversity of the characters because I think it gives the audience someone they can each root for. The monster designs I thought were really cool and nice updates to the previous Showa designs. I liked how Rodan migrated in flocks, and it reminded me of Gaios from the Heisei Gamera movie Gamera Guardian of the Galaxy. I don't think we've seen Rodan presented in that way before, and I thought it was cool. It made them more menacing and pest-like. Their designs mostly stayed true to the original, but I found the updates to be welcome. Anguirus was another really interesting design, and I really liked it. It made him look more imposing than his previous incarnations. I also liked how he had abilities like deflecting bullets. It's just a shame that he was only in 3 episodes. I thought it was clever to use his horn on a spear for Jet Jaguar to use later on. Hopefully we'll see more Anguirus if the season continues and isn't killed in 3 episodes. Manda was another great redesign and also traveled in packs, which was cool to see. I thought his design was interesting and stayed true to the original design. Kumonga also made an appearance, which was cool, and he had a few different variations which took characteristics from other Showa monsters. For example, Kumonga had drill-like legs similar to Megalon's drill hands, and another incarnation had scythe-like hands similar to Gigan. It was cool to see different monster design elements used in the redesign of an existing monster. I think Kumonga was interesting because it had a few forms and was really a pest for Jet Jaguar. It was awesome watching Jet Jaguar slice through those bugs. The new monster, Salunga, was also really cool, which took some design elements from Gabra. I thought he was interesting, but I felt like they could have done more with him. I felt like he was built up as this really powerful monster, and in the end they really didn't give him a satisfactory end. Now, Salunga has been paralyzed and impaled many times over the course of the story, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a bigger role in a supposed next season. Godzilla was incredible. I loved how each phase of his transformation had different abilities. I liked how they built him up over time as this menace and how by the end of the show he had essentially overrun Tokyo. I thought the new take on his atomic breath was incredible, and when Yun lands on Godzilla you really get a sense of how big Godzilla really is. It was also cool to see this Shokairus or Meganula, it looked more like a Meganula to me, on Godzilla's body. I thought this was a reference to Godzilla 1984 and the irradiated sea lice. Overall, I loved his design and performance. Would have loved to have seen more. Hopefully we will if there's a next season. Jet Jaguar, while I know I said was more part of the human cast, I'll just say I loved his design and personality. I wasn't expecting him to actually fight Godzilla, but it was incredible to see in the final episode. It was so cool watching him being upgraded and gain new abilities as the show went on. I loved watching how at the end he got big like he does in Godzilla vs. Megalon, another clear reference. Lastly, I wasn't sure what the Godzilla skeleton would be used for, and it was interesting how they took it out of the facility to a new location. Finally, at the end of episode 13, in an end credits scene, we see the skeleton being used similar to Kiryu to build a Mechagodzilla. It was great seeing the classic Showa Mechagodzilla design, but also mixed with some Kiryu design elements. I loved the little references, and this was a great one. This Mechagodzilla looks powerful. Overall, I really enjoyed Singular Point. No movie, show, or series is perfect, and Godzilla Singular Point isn't perfect. But I thought it was a really fun and interesting show, and I hope Toho continues the story. I love the theme song and the opening credits were epic. Only thing I wish they had done different was change up the Easter eggs in the end credit scenes each week. That would have been awesome. I thought the Shiva Corporation was interesting. It reminded me a little of Biomajor or the Seradian Corporation, and even Apex. I think the Ortho-Diagonalizer was a clear reference to the Oxygen Destroyer, which was a clever spin on the iconic weapon. I feel like at the same level they might be responsible for Mechagodzilla. I hope all of this is expanded upon in future seasons of the show. I'm sure I missed some things and I plan on making a video going over whatever I missed. I just wanted to get a video out because I haven't talked about Singular Point and I wanted to give my opinions now that the show's final episode has been released on Netflix in Japan. I would recommend this series to G-fans, especially hardcore G-fans. I don't think this is for the casual fans of the franchise. I think that some of this will go over their heads and will want more monster action. Overall, I think that they struck a nice balance and I'd love to see more destruction as always, but I thought this anime did a nice job with Godzilla. I loved all the Easter eggs and references sprinkled throughout. It was so fun seeing the small Mothra moths flying around in a small cameo. I hope that this series is continued. There are so many directions the series can go in, and now with the threat of Mechagodzilla, things can get super interesting. I did notice how one of Toho's big five was left out, meaning Godzilla, Rodan, Mechagodzilla, and even Mothra got featured in some way or another, whereas King Ghidorah, who is part of Toho's big five, wasn't mentioned or shown at all. I think that if another season were to be made, it would be cool if he shows up. It's only a matter of time anyways. King Ghidorah always seems to get a revival, so I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe he and Mechagodzilla will team up, which would be really fun. Imagine Godzilla having to team up with Jet Jaguar to fight those two? That would be incredible. Anyways, I really enjoyed this show if you couldn't tell, and hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of Godzilla Singular Point in the comments, and as always, I'll see you in the next one, G-fans.